Hello and welcome. This is Bridges, where we talk about relationship, lifestyle, and more. In my last presentation, I was talking about why families, African families to be precise, fail abroad. This topic is sparked by recent happenings among families of African origin that are abroad and the spike in breakups. In the last video, I mentioned how pressure can lead you into such circumstance. And today I want to continue that series as to why African families fail abroad or the possible reason they can fail. So, sometimes your partner is going to use what is available to make food. Do not say it's not tasting like the one you know. Because the vegetables where you're coming from might be different. And they have to use what they have. It will not be given. It's not going to be given. It's not going to be the taste you grew up with. So there is need to adjust taste, and there is need not to turn your partner into a chef, a cook, a full-time kitchen personnel, simply because they are expected to cater for your food needs. Remember that in Africa, you can access any form of help from family members, friends, neighbors, name it, colleagues. They are all available to be at your beck and call, but it's not the same when you travel abroad. Yes, another thing that if you don't manage your expectation may lead to serious family fracas is money issues and pressures from home. Pressures from home, once people travel abroad, expectations increase. People feel like they are plucking money from the streets, they are picking money, job is everywhere. In fact, it looks like you don't have problems anymore. So you get calls from colleagues, you get calls from family members, in-laws, friends, virtually everyone that has known that you traveled abroad, because they feel that when you change the currency of the country, your new country, into the currency of your country of origin, the money is going to be plenty. So sometimes you hear things like, is it not just 10 euro, just 20 euro, just $15, just $20? They call it just because they feel that you can give away that amount while they turn it and make it good money where they are coming from. Forgetting that they are not the only ones who also ask you for money and that you have your expenses too to run. So when you as a partner or a spouse try to meet all these financial burdens without the consent of your partner, or even when you go into that depression that you are not able to meet their expectations. Usually when you travel abroad, people feel you have made it. So you also want to play along. There's that temptation to want to play along to make them feel like you have actually made it. So once you cannot meet that standard they are setting for you, you might be putting up attitudes that will affect your relationship. And then where you can meet those demands and they are not managed and they are not agreed upon unanimously, and you go ahead and do things, it can cause problems. Money management, and maybe you feel you're the one getting the money, you can spend it the way you want, it's your money. There will be issues. It's advisable for families to decide how their monies go. Another issue is this expectation from women that their man is the sole custodian of expenses. Now, man, you be, when they want you to prove that you're a real man. When an African person tells you prove that you're a real man, it's either they want you to die in bed, in sex, or spend your life out proving to them that they can take care of you, that you can take care of them, brother. Anyways, it's different strokes for different folks. For some people, money doesn't cause problems. For some others, money do. You have to understand how it works, the dynamics in your home, to be able to go through this period of your life. Another thing that can cause trouble is children, raising children. When you come to Africa, raising children is somewhat easy and fast. Why? Because you have helps, you have support systems, you have rules that are allowable that are not allowed in Western countries. Some of the things we do in Africa in trying to curb our children, in trying to raise them, in trying to manage their excesses are frowned at in other locations in the West. Now it's termed child violence, child abuse, it's termed a lot of things. So negligence and whatever. So you might not be able to cope if you don't adjust. You cannot leave minors unminded. Sometimes people go into trouble because they want to work and they leave their growing children to themselves. Probably you have a young teenager of 12, maybe you have 11 years, 10 years, and you leave younger ones for them alone for longer times. And those things somehow put you in trouble. Don't be surprised the neighbor can report you because they feel that your children are in danger. Don't feel that they share the sentiments we share in Africa. A parent or an adult can see a child and take care of that child until their parents come back. They can take them in, but it's not the same abroad. So again, our laws. Children have a lot of freedoms in the West, and then it's not going down well with you. If you don't have agreement with your partner as to how to raise your kids, it's not going to be you say, I counter say. When there are conflicting instructions, conflicting ideologies, conflicting stance on raising children, then you are going to be having problems. It's better you sit down and discuss what your family values are and decide to follow it together and raise your kids. I am not saying that the West is going to help destroy your children. They also allow you some allowable standards. If they are safe, they understand that you're coming from somewhere and you have a way of raising your children to become who they should be without causing a nuisance to them too. So not like you say they don't allow children. It's just that you're not going to inflict certain pains on those children. You might choose another method of discipline. There are many ways to discipline children. There are many ways to raise children. And there are many ways to come to terms and bargain and compromise with your kids other than put yourself in trouble abroad. One area that people don't like going into is sex. But certainly it's going to be one of the issues you're going to have. A friend told me recently that he's having issues with his wife. Not really that they don't want each other, but because of time. Availability. When you pray, it's like I prayed and God gave me this choice job. He's actually testifying that God answered his prayer in terms of job and he's growing. But, with every growth comes a demand. So you work longer hours and your partner is waiting. If you are partners that don't have kids yet, it's also advisable that both of you go into longer hours too. You come back almost the same time. When you are in it together, you understand each other. But when you let one party feel the pain alone, it's not going to help. So it's like the prayer we prayed and the answer we got from God is also becoming a problem. Like you leave early in the morning, you come back late in the night, and you are tired. It's like, when do we have time to get along together? Don't allow your sex life to suffer because you got a job, or because you are busy, or because you're making money. There has to be a balance, and the balance must necessarily be how it is for A. You have to find when it works for you, how it works for you. Don't underestimate early hours of the morning, spare times in the midnight, and all that. Try and find time to bond. So one of the problems you're going to have is intimacy, is sex. Your sex life will be affected because of your busy schedules abroad. Believe me, if you work abroad, the money they pay you, the monetary value will certainly be better than what it is in Africa. But that money they pay you, you will work it out. You must do the work. Not like in Africa where you have a job and messengers are the ones doing the job. and you have people who cover for you in the office. You might not have such privilege here. Not like when you go to job or work, you sit down and gist all day. Go and ask local government workers in Africa. You will understand. There's enough time to gist and to rant in the place of work and get paid for it. But abroad, if you're working for 8 hours, you must do that 8 hours. You're only entitled to a few minutes and moments of break. So that business can make you very tired, and it's tiring. And most of the jobs, you're not going to sit down, no. You will stand and do the job. So it's kind of going to be a problem for people who cannot manage stress, who cannot manage tensions. Maybe you come in and your partner say you snap, when you feel like it's even because of him or her that I'm working. You get so touchy and you leash your frustration on them. It might not help your relationship. You have to find a way to keep your romance life, your sex life working for both parties. Find out what your partner likes and stick to it and work it out. Communication, very important. Poor communication is what also affects families abroad. In their suffering, there is this inability to really say what is happening to you, to say how it is for you. Loneliness is not necessarily when somebody is not at home. People can be at home and you are lonely. The loneliness I talked about that is in abroad, it gets style. It can be neighbors are there, but you are lonely. 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, you don't even know whether your next door neighbor is existing, because people go out. It's not noisy. You don't know when people go out. You don't know when they come in. They don't want to be interrupted. They don't want to be barged into. They don't want disturbances. Everybody's living a quiet life. And then loneliness in your own house where both of you are there, and poor communication is affecting you and making you break up and break apart. Learn to communicate. So poor communication, it's not just talking. It's about also conveying your feelings, thinking through about something and being able to have an honest conversation about issues. That's lonely. People can be in the house and you're lonely because they don't really understand what you are feeling. And it's not nice to ask your neighbor why they are behaving, your partner, why they are behaving the way they are behaving, without trying to abroad. You will become a communicator by force. You will have to become both a magician, a mind reader, and a professional relationship coach. So because you really at sometimes have to be the one finding what the problem is, because when most partners snap into those moods of depression, they are not able to communicate. What depression does to you is that it makes you sink in and groom or dwell on those things that will make you fall apart the more. It gives you reasons to die. It gives you reasons to stay down. It gives you reasons. You dwell on things and drag things that can help you stay in that mood forever. But it takes a partner who is patient, who is observant, who is discerning to understand that all is not well. Thank you for listening. Until I come your way again, please subscribe, like my videos, and support what we do here. Thank you so much. Ciao.